This is Dream Chasers, episode 46, with Brian Noller. Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Adam Carswell, and welcome to Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future. On Dream Chasers, we interview individuals with supernatural amounts of potential based on early success in their careers. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's get straight to the interview. Hey guys, this is Adam Carswell, and today I'm joined by Brian Noller. Brian is the Vice President of Chicago Hope Homes. He's originally from Russell, Kansas. He went to Sterling College in Sterling, Kansas, and now Brian lives on the west side of Chicago. Brian, thank you for joining us on the show, and do you have any opening remarks for our listeners?
Thanks, Adam. Really looking forward to just going through this whole process with you. Hopefully I can give some advice to those of you guys that are listening, and hopefully you can become inspired to become your best selves as well.
Definitely. I think that's definitely what's going to happen on this call. So glad our heads are in the same spot. Guys, I first discovered Brian through my business partner, Michael Flight, who's the owner of Concordia Realty, a Chicago-based real estate firm as well. Michael's always looking out for me as someone that I work closely with on a daily basis. And he's like, hey, Adam, this guy right here, got to bring him on your show. He's special. I guess I'm kind of setting the bar a little high for you now, Brian, but I'm sure you're going to crush it. So,
yeah. Let me lower it for your listeners. Just let's lower it down a couple steps, and then we'll go from there.
How long have you been working with Chicago Hope Homes?
So I first came along, the parent organization of the whole thing is Chicago Hope Academy, which is a private school on the west side of Chicago that works with low-income students to give them a private education. So with that, there is a pretty big deficit that is created there just because the tuition does not even get close to covering the cost of the school and all the expenses. Mm-hmm. So when I came on initially, I was working on the school side, kind of doing I was a finance manager there, kind of balancing the books and things like that. And we had talked at that time about, kind of working through this real estate program, trying to build some revenue for the school that we could actually go out and earn ourselves rather than just asking for donations. So that was about 5 years ago that I went on full time with the real estate side, which is Chicago Hope Homes. Since that time, it's been quite a journey. But yeah, it's been about 5 years now.
Cool. And I think there's some history in Chicago Hope Homes tied to the movie Hardball. Am I accurate in assuming that?
Yeah. So Chicago Hope Academy started by a guy named Bob Mazakowski. Bob Mazakowski was way back when started a little league program. He moved from New York to Chicago, had a business downtown, selling life insurance, things like that, different benefits packages. Sold half his business to start the school as a way to help with the kids. He saw that there was this big difference. These kids that were in the little league programs, after they went from the little league to the high school level, there was a couple of their kids that got killed. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Hardball, but G-Baby, that's based on a real story. That's based on, Bob Mazakowski's life with the little league program. So he really saw a need at the high school level for consistent mentorship, not just 3 days a week at practice, just daily, day-to-day stuff. And so that's how the school actually was started. So he fundraised a bunch of the money with both his money and then some of his close friends. And yeah, that was about 12, 13 years ago now. And we're still open. So what a miracle.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, we're going to step into the next level chamber now. Brian, when did you realize this was something that you wanted to take to the next level?
It's hard to say that there was an exact moment. I got to be honest with you. Growing up, I think you had mentioned that I grew up in Kansas. It's a very blue collar area. All through high school, college, all those different times. There were, over the summers, I was working construction, working on homes, rehabbing homes, and it was always a dream of mine. I went to college for education, and one of the reasons I went into education was that I would have the summers off and I could actually flip a home in the summers. So it's kind of always this thing that was a part of kind of my DNA and who I was. Mm-hmm. Then seeing an opportunity to do it for a philanthropic need and to help people with it, with my work. It was when I was able to get into that position, it was almost immediately like, this is exactly what I want to do.
What was your background in college?
Education, mathematics.
So that doesn't really correlate with construction or real estate. So I'm curious where the connection happened there as well.
It's funny. I went to college because, most kids at the high school level, at least where I'm from, viewed that if you work really hard, the whole ultimate goal is to go to college. Knowing what I know now and the benefits of trade schools and different things like that and how much work is available, if I could go back, I probably would have went that direction. Mm-hmm. But at the time, I saw the only way out of poverty, the only way out of this small town life that I lived was to go to college. And so when I had to study something, I was like, well, I guess I'm pretty good at math. So I started with math education. I was like, I'll be a teacher and a coach. And that was kind of where the whole thing started. But construction was really always my passion, even through that time. I always had dreams over the summers of, like I said, flipping a house over the summer and kind of doing that as a way to help, a poor teacher's salary.
Yeah. And math, so, that's a valuable skill. And I know for me, as soon as I could opt out of taking math courses in college or high school, whenever it was, I was always like, okay, I'm done with math. Obviously, math is very important. And it's something that now that I've gotten into the professional world, I'm like, wow, anyone that's got a math background, they're probably smarter than me. So kudos to you on that. And what else was just running through my head? Oh, construction. So, you really have to be pretty good with your numbers, right? You don't want to get the 4x4 in the wrong place or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. But I'll say this: there's definitely when you take college math, it's a whole different level. I joke around about it sometimes, but I really don't know how I graduated with the math degree. I don't really know what I learned. If I'm just being 100% honest, it's what you do on a day-to-day basis. The basic math that you do at the work sites and stuff. It's definitely not anything to the level of some of that stuff I was learning in college. That's more for like architects and stuff. So.
Right.
But yeah, I got through. Here's a good lesson for you too. This is what I always tell all of our kids. If you want to be successful in the college world, you got to go to the classes that nobody else is in. There was not very many kids in the math classes, in the advanced math classes. So I thought, well, that's something unique that not everybody has. So it's something that's valuable. And I tell that to the kids all the time. As much as everybody wants to get into business and be entrepreneurs, how many people go to college for a business degree? You don't really separate yourself by doing what everybody else does. So that's kind of what I thought. I was like, hey, there's like 2 kids in this advanced math class. I might as well take it.
Might as well be the third.
So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think that's transparent across all industries and all walks of life. If you're doing the thing that less people are doing, if you're taking the path less traveled, it's really going to benefit you more in the long run.
Absolutely.
What would you say are some of the downsides to doing the work that you do, and then what are some of the positives?
I can start really with the positives first. I'm really lucky to have a supportive team. The people that are around me, the people I work with, work under, work for, and also work under me are all very supportive in trying new things. And I think the world of real estate as a whole and construction, there's no limits in what you can really explore and do. Whether it's hey, we typically do single family, smaller projects, but now we want to take on a really big commercial project. There's a capacity to do that. So the dynamics are always changing, which is, to me, just an incredible blessing to do something different every single day and have something that you're always growing towards and learning towards. That definitely has got to be a strength. And I'll say along with that, it really comes to the weakness too, because you always have to be zoned in. I can't tell you, we've let the gas off of a project a time or two, and next thing you know, 1 or 2 mistakes, and it really is like a big thing. You watch like these flipping shows. People think it's really easy to flip homes, but it takes an incredible amount of skill and timing, and sometimes, quite frankly, luck. Just getting things out at the right time, and the right buyer comes along, or whatever the case might be. A lot of that stuff's out of your control. It's the strength and the weakness of it that you can't always path out exactly what it's going to be. I wish it was a little bit more consistent, if you will. So
I'm curious, because Chicago Hope Homes is, correct me if I'm wrong, is a nonprofit. And so what do your goals look like internally compared to a for-profit business? Like, are you guys still trying to hit X amount of dollars in revenue, or are you guys focused on the amount of homes? Are you just focused on quality in general? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's funny, you had a guest a while back on your podcast, Ellis Hammond.
Yeah. Yep.
very, very similar. I think we're just kind of a couple steps ahead of them in terms of what we've done. That was us kind of 4 or 5 years ago, trying to bootstart this whole thing, trying to build the whole thing up. We're a little bit further than where he was. So I don't know if he's listening to this. I hope he continues to work through.
He's going to hear this one.
For sure. But it's kind of, I really enjoyed listening to him because I could remember a lot of those growing pains and just a lot of, knocking on doors and trying to get the whole thing. We've gotten to a point now where we have a pretty large amount of money that's been invested with us through different philanthropic giving and through, people that have partnered with us to say, we don't just want to give money to you to pay your payroll. We'd like to give money that can continually give. And that's what we've been able to do. People that come and invest with us, they can invest some money. We use it, grow it through real estate. They can get their principal back, and we're earning all that interest money. So it's really a unique way of fundraising for us. It's a way to go to, different organizations or entities that, don't just want to give a one-time gift. They want to give a gift that, can grow and build and grow as our organization grows. And so when it comes to our goals and things like that, Chicago Hope Homes really orchestrates very much like a for-profit. The only thing that really ties us to the nonprofit is that our profits go to fund the school. But in terms of our daily goals and in terms of our projects, we're looking for stuff that we can make money on. We're looking to generate as much money as possible. We'd like to get to the point where we're doing $2 million a year in profits that we can give to the school, and the school can be completely funded by what we're doing. At the medium moment, we're trying to flip and generate as much revenue as possible through that. And also we're doing general contracting services, building new construction homes, both for ourselves and for other people. And all that money that we're generating, we're trying to, store up as much as we can, give to the school as much as we can, and then ultimately try to create a long-term rental portfolio that can sustain us, that we don't have to work, as hard for in 5 to 10 years. So that's, we do kind of have an end goal in mind. 5 to 10 years from now, we want to have enough capital that we can purchase a lot of rental portfolio, multi-unit buildings, big 60-unit type buildings that can generate profit that we can kind of take the foot off the gas, if you will, and have a long-term income source for the school.
Yeah, absolutely. And to me, it sounds like you're doing what our brother Ellis shared on his interview, which was be evangelistic about your approach. Let people know what your end goal is, where you're going, what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. So I guess I want to turn it back to you again real quick and just say, if out of this entire interview, this question right here or this moment right here, give me your evangelistic pitch. What is it that you want the world to know?
I would say it's different. It's different for different people. I would say for organizations, especially nonprofit organizations, we have to as collectively as a church or as a nonprofit organization or school or whatever it is, we have to be creative with how we shepherd our resources and how we grow our resources. We can't just expect people to give towards something that we're not working towards, right? We have a saying around our school: the harder we work, the luckier we get. And it just tends to be true. We keep working and working and working, and people kind of recognize that. And as long as you guys are also working in those capacities, the partnership between the nonprofit world and the for-profit world should be a lot closer. It shouldn't just be a once a year check. Like it should be a partnership that we can combine our resources and share in profits together. So that's kind of what I would pitch to the nonprofit world, to kind of the entrepreneurs and the people that are earning revenue and doing really well for themselves. Look for those ways to partner. Don't think that your only gift is a check. Like there's so much experience that we have. I look at my church on a Sunday afternoon, and there's so much experience in that room, in the church room, that it's like, if these people could combine their skills and combine their resources and their assets, like they could really actually change the world. They could really actually do big, incredible things. But we just limit it to, hey, I need a check because we're doing this. We're going on a mission trip, so we need a check for this. It's so like limited compared to what we could actually really accomplish if we would work together and use our skills together.
Great. So yeah, if we have any entrepreneurs or business owners listening that are looking for a great nonprofit to partner with, I think we've got a hot lead right here.
Absolutely. We'd love to have those conversations.
Where do you see, well, you did mention this earlier, so I guess I should ask this question. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see Brian Noller in 3 years?
That's a good question. I've been really focused on being a great general contractor over the last couple of years. We did flips only for a long time, but that was when we first started. It's 2010, 2011. Prices were, as everybody knows, prices were at a really low price point, and the flips were really nice. That market's tightening up now, so we're trying to expand what we're doing, opening ourselves up to doing a lot more general contracting. So I would say my goal right now is just to become the best general contractor as I can, learning all the ins and outs of managing people, and which is a whole new experience, but just learning how to do that effectively and cost effectively, and from a time standpoint, like how many projects can we take on, how many, those are all the things that I'm really working on. In three years, I'd love to see myself accomplishing a lot of those things and being really comfortable in that trade, being really comfortable with that skill, if you will.
Cool. Any physical aspirations? Like, are you trying to run a marathon or do what's it called, a Spartan or Tough Mudder, anything like that?
Well, you'll find I'm actually on a competitive flag football team, adult flag football team.
Okay.
So, so I train for that in my spare time.
Oh, wow.
And,
so it's like competitive.
Yeah. Like we go to nationals.
You said you
and
train
everything.
for it. So, okay.
Yeah. We go to nationals, and,
wow.
Yeah, I'm the only white guy on my team, so they call me the Water Boy because there's no other like famous white football players besides the Water Boy, I guess. So
and Tom Brady.
Yeah, but I can't throw the ball. I can't throw the ball,
At this level, Tom Brady doesn't even count as white. He's just invincible.
Yeah, goat. Just different.
But what position are you playing there on the team?
I play rush defensive end. Okay.
Wow, yeah. I mean, if you're playing that specific of a role, then it is pretty competitive.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun, but we actually it's full contact outside of tackle. So like blocks are all live.
Wow.
Everything's live except for on the ball carrier. You just take his flags on the ball carrier. So pretty physical.
Do you have any footage or anything online? I'm kind of curious. I want to see what this looks like.
Yeah. The league that I'm in is the Revolution Flag Football League in Chicago. You can go to their Facebook page and they upload some stuff. Okay. You guys heard it. I don't have any highlights or anything, but
the Brian Noller highlights.
You can ask about me though. People know me. Water Boy.
That's cool. Brian, what industry leaders are you inspired by? And then I also want to say, what other nonprofits would you say Chicago Hope Homes are inspired by?
Yeah, so there's actually a number I would say mostly local. Been pretty privileged to be pretty connected with some different nonprofits. In when I first moved here, I was connected with a number of other ones like the Lawndale Community Church. They kind of from within what they did, they started like a health center, and that generates money for the whole operations. And they have like 12 different organizations that all provide services and resources, and runs pretty like a business. The health department funds the coffee shop and the health center, and it's a pretty incredible what they've accomplished there. Mm-hmm. And there's a number of those other organizations. I just get really inspired when nonprofits can learn to generate their own funds and learn to run those businesses and partner with people rather than just receive gifts. So there's a number of other organizations in Chicago that kind of inspire me that way. But from the business side, I would say locally too, close friend of mine and has been like a mentor to me, Gino Battaglia. He does a lot of financing work and owns a bunch of real estate in Chicago. He's been an absolute inspiration to me, very generous with his time and his money and his resources. And
I want to
I go to him. Yeah.
Give you a quick moment to give a direct kudos to Gino. If he's going to listen to this and he's listening right now, what's your message to him?
Yeah, no, Gino, appreciate you, man. Just everything that you've been able to do for me and helping with the kids at the school. And, telling me your story on how you made it into real estate. And then, it's just been cool to get to know you and your wife over the past, 4 years. Big kudos to you, buddy.
Powerful. Brian.
Yeah.
If we've got, for example, we got a little Brian Noller, 10 years old at home right now, listening to this podcast, and you wanted to give him some advice on, what to do moving forward with life. Can you give an example to him of something that you wish maybe you would have done differently looking back?
Oh man, I wasn't a good kid, man. You can't ask me that question. I'd have to tell myself to, like,
10-year-old Brian he wouldn't be listening to this in the first place.
No, but 10-year-old Brian would not be listening to this. I was a bad kid, man. You can ask my mom. I was a bad kid. I tell him to, listen to your mom and shut up. That's an almost impossible question to answer. But I think for all the young guys, out there, you have to find something that you're good at and something that you have a passion towards, and really craft it into a skill that you have that nobody else does. Even for me back then, there were things that I was good at, and the school system might not always say, hey, that's a skill that you need to have. Like, I was loud and obnoxious, and teachers would say, oh, that's, you have to stop being like that. Well, that's what my skill was, right? And I just had to learn how to adapt that skill to make it a strength. And I think for all young kids, you have to find what you actually have. What is your personality? What is your skills? What is your giftings? And really refine around it. And it doesn't really matter what, the school systems or your bosses or anything think about that. You have to, that's your strength. That's your skill.
Absolutely. All right. We got 3 fun questions here to close this one out. The first one is, what is your favorite cereal? Second question is, what is your favorite part about Kansas? And number 3 is, what is your favorite project so far working with Chicago Hope Homes?
All right, let's get into this one. Raisin Bran, that one's easy.
Okay.
That one's easy. Second one was, what was the second one again?
Favorite part about your home state, Kansas. Yep.
Yeah, the queen of the Kansas Plains. Let's see. There's so many good parts about Kansas. I'd have to say, sitting in the back of your truck, looking at a sunrise with not a person or a sound in sight, and drinking a cold beer. There's not an experience like that anywhere else.
Oh yeah.
It's just a unique.
I can feel it right now as you're saying it.
I know. It's a unique experience, man. And I'll tell you what, I didn't appreciate it enough when I lived there. Anytime I get to go back, which is actually not very often, but anytime I do get to go back and I get to do that, it's just a really awesome time. And then the final question is actually really easy too. We did a property it's actually under contract right now. So if you guys go on our website, chicagohopehomes.com, you can see some of the projects. But we did a property down on the south side in a historically black neighborhood. It used to be called the Metropolis. It was like one of the most prestigious black communities back in 1940s, 1950s. Wow. Yeah, and it's an old mansion, gray stone mansion. It had 6,700 square feet. We put an elevator in it. It's 7 bedrooms, 5 baths. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible. The master suite alone was I think 900 square feet, something crazy like that. I mean, it was an absolute blast to do. And
sounds beautiful. You said it's on the website?
Yeah. Cool. It's on the website. It's under contract right now. We're going to be pulling down the top comp in that neighborhood. It should help development after us. There's a lot of people that bought up a lot of land around us when we started working on it. So yeah.
Cool. And so you said Chicago Hope Homes is a good way to follow up and maybe get in contact with the organization. Are there any other ways anyone listening can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Feel free to add me there, Brian Noller. Let's see. The website's a great. If you're looking for my email, just go to the contact me page on our website. Would love to be in touch with you guys, especially if you have any questions or you want to know how you can get involved with different things. I've actually did some consulting for a couple small nonprofits that were looking to do the exact same thing. Schools in different areas and other nonprofits that are looking to try to generate some revenue for their business. I'm happy to bounce ideas with you, real estate or not. Pretty passionate about it. Love to be of any help I can to anybody out there.
Perfect. Brian, thanks again for coming on the show. This has been a great interview. Really looking forward to getting it out there.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning into Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future. We had Brian Noller here today of Chicago Hope Homes with us. We'll catch you in the next episode. And remember, in all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.